It wasn't that long ago where we heard everybody was up in arms about the raid on Mar-a-Lago. When they went in, they found classified documents in Mar-a-Lago. Donald Trump brought classified documents back to Mar-a-Lago, and he's the most evil man. He needs to be locked up forever because of this. Well, at the end of the day, really nothing came of that. It was really not as big of a deal as people were trying to make it. Well, now the left is having their turn once again at showing what hypocrites they are, because Joe Biden is has the exact same problem that Donald Trump had. Classified documents from Joe Biden's vice presidency found in a private office. Classified documents from Biden's tenure as vice president were discovered in a private office in Washington and turned over to the National Archives in November. So this is before the midterms, by the way. Weird that didn't get out there till now. A White House lawyer confirmed Monday. The small number of documents with classified markings were found in a locked closet at Penn Biden Center for Diplomacy and Global Engagement and are now under review by the Justice Department and National Archives, Special Counsel of the President said in a statement. And of course, Joe Biden says, hi, I didn't know that was there. I don't know what the problem is, but we're cooperating with everybody. Isn't it strange how the left is so willing to just dismiss this as nothing, just a simple, honest mistake by Joe Biden, whereas they wanted to demonize Trump? And even these fucking hacks on The View. Joy Behar, we know Trump is a liar and a thief, but we give Biden the benefit of the doubt. They're not even trying to hide it.
Nope.
And in reality, it's not that big of a deal. If you're any person who's actually had a government job where you handle classified, confidential, secret, top secret information, whatever level you're at, you do know that, yes, it's a serious thing, but, things do happen. There's investigations and things like that to make sure it didn't go out to anybody it shouldn't. But when you're president of the United States and you're the one that gets to determine some of these things, every single one of these presidents takes these classified documents back for their own personal libraries. Even vice presidents do it apparently as well. It's not as big of a deal as people were trying to make it. And now they're faced with the reality that they have to try to flip this switch so quickly and pretend like this isn't a big deal when it was Donald Trump, it was the end of the world.
The best thing I've seen so far on this, guys, was the attorney for the CIA. He was tied in with the CIA, some kind of attorney. Back in August, he was on CNN, MSNBC, and every other channel that you could think of. And his statements were the documents found at Mar-a-Lago that Donald Trump had allegedly brought there was a major threat to national security, inexcusable in any way, could have compromised, everyone under the sun. And he went on and on and on. Yesterday, he was on CNN saying that the documents found, and I want to get into something real quick, but he was saying that the documents found at the Penn, this Biden Penn Center for, in D.C. were although they were classified, this happens. This happens, documents are taken. It happens. It's not the end of the world. And this is going to probably come out to, be, they'll look into it, but it's probably going to be nothing. So in just a matter of 5 months, he went from saying essentially Donald Trump committed the most egregious crime on planet Earth and needed to go to jail. 5 months later, the same thing happens to Joe Biden. And the same guy on the same network is saying, not that big of a deal. We're going to get past this. It's really not the end of the world. This happens all the time. It's unbelievable that this guy, who is allegedly an attorney, is going to sit here and go on the same network and say completely opposing things. And we're seeing that on all the news networks. But here's what I want to know. And this is a question that nobody seems to be asking. Ryan, you have people in your world maybe that are attorneys, someone you would call, Jeremy, you too. Through 221B, I have personally, I have an attorney. My attorneys are not randomly going through closets at offices that belong to me or that maybe have my name on them or that I'm affiliated for no reason at all. I mean, Ryan, I'm looking behind you. I don't see any attorneys rifling through your closets right now while nothing's happening. Jeremy, I can't see you, but I'm assuming there's no attorneys in your house randomly searching your closets right now at your home or your office. So the question that no one's asking here is, what were the attorneys doing going through this closet that was locked in this Penn Biden Center for Diplomacy? What were they doing there? And why were they going through this locked closet, rifling through documents? What were they doing? What were they looking for that they happened to come upon this? That's what I want to know. I have an idea. Of what was going on, but it's just an idea. It's a theory.
Yeah, we do also have we've got Joy Behar herself, the pig Joy Behar. I don't know why it's doing that. Let's reshare it. Sometimes StreamYards does that. There we go. Here's from our man Benny Johnson. The View hack, Joy Behar accidentally admits the quiet part out loud after Biden found stealing classified docs.
Really, I think that what you just said is right, that there are differences in what happened.
Yes, but the optics are not good.
Well, we all know that Trump is a liar and a thief. We know that. So it's not that big a jump to say that he obstructed and he lied. We don't think that Biden is a liar and a thief, so we give him the benefit of the doubt. That's partly what's going on. But what I think...
Imagine saying Biden's not a liar. We'd look at everything that happened with fucking Hunter, look at everything that happened with Ukraine, the big guy, like all this stuff. What a joke.
Also is going on, no matter what the truth of it is, Whoopi, they will spin it, Bubblehead and Marjorie Taylor and that crowd, Matt Gaetz. You think they're not going to spin this, that it's just as bad as Trump? And so the lie gets out there, people believe it, just like that Donaldson person, whatever his name is.
Byron.
What's his name? Byron Donalds. I saw him also. He was at the fight on the floor, too, wasn't he?
He was nominated for speaker a number of times.
By two people.
Yeah. He's the new darling. The 15 rounds.
But I mean, what I'm just saying is that the lying has been so invasive, so ubiquitous that no one will believe the truth anymore, and that you can put that at the feet of Donald Trump, who's started.
I can't believe that this is a show, like that these fucking women get together and actually discuss political shit. I can't believe this is actually a show that airs. But
no
when you look at
no facts,
and when you look at these things, there's obviously more documents in the Donald Trump scenario than there was in the Joe Biden scenario. There's also a big difference, though. I'm saying that I don't think it's a big deal either way, to be quite honest with you. But there's a big difference because when the president can say something, determine the classification level of something, vice someone who is the vice president having that. There is actually a difference there. You can justify one. You can't necessarily justify the other. So I don't know. I personally, neither it's a big deal. It's just going further to show the hypocrisy of these people on the left.
I don't. Sorry, I'm
no. Go ahead, Jeremy.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
yeah, but to me, there is absolutely no issue on either side of this. Just like Ryan said, this is not about like Joe. Ryan's right on that point of the vice president, though. That's what would call into question anything. If you really wanted to go, what's a more serious situation? Well, Trump can classify as the president, former president. At the time, he could classify whatever he wants to classify as president. You have that power. The vice president doesn't have that power. So for the VP to have classified documents, that would be a problem if you were doing comparison. But overall, it's not a big deal. It's about what? Showing the hypocrisy of the left. They lost their minds over this entire Mar-a-Lago thing, which the bullshit was that the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago how they did it. But that's neither here nor there. The point being is that they made this seem like this was the end of democracy and Trump is going to prison forever. And now suddenly, now that it's happened to Biden, you see, they don't really care about these things. You have people like me, Ryan and Suresh, who will sit there and go, overall, like if you're just calling a spade, neither one of these are really a big deal. But the left, it's only a big deal when it's Trump. Sick freaks.
Yeah,
I agree.
I want to slightly disagree on something here. The point at which a president having classified documents who has the power to declassify anything And that's one thing. And as vice president, you do not have the power to declassify anything. So I think that's quite a big difference. The other thing is the documents that Donald Trump held were at his home. These classified documents that they're saying there's roughly a dozen of them, but that's not confirmed. That's coming from Biden's attorneys. There could be 3 dozen. We don't know. But these documents that they said had sensitive, information on undercover covert operatives, names, locations, things like that. They're saying that these documents were at this, Penn Biden Center. So it wasn't at his home. They were at an arbitrary place. Now,
a place that he was using as an office, a place in D.C., University of Pennsylvania, just a random office that he used. That's it. Who knows what kind of control there was for it?
Right. So I think everyone knows the level of security at Mar-a-Lago. We could all imagine that, right? But this office that he was using at this think tank, it's crazy to say think tank and Joe Biden in the same sentence, but this academic facility, what was the security there? Who had access to these documents? The average person is not going to walk into Donald Trump's basement at Mar-a-Lago, right? But who had access to these?
Unless your name's Nick Fuentes, then maybe.
Oh. But the other thing that no one's talking about is the University of Pennsylvania. This center was not based around fundraising at all. There was no fundraising. However, they went from the year prior to Biden coming in, the amount of donations they got, and it was primarily domestically, the number was somewhere around 30 million. After Biden and this Penn Biden Center, somehow the number of dollars coming in exceeded 100 million. And this 100 million number was predominantly from overseas, foreign entities, predominantly China. Now, those are just the facts. I'm not insinuating anything. So we have this situation where they went from getting 30 million to nearly triple that, more than triple that amount, after this Penn Biden facility opens. And most of the money that came in randomly came from China. So I don't really know if that should be looked into, but it sounds a little fishy.
Yeah, it certainly does. And for people that aren't familiar, for every different classification level, whether you're talking about confidential, secret, top secret, there are different stipulations and different ways that these things are supposed to be stored, how many doors they have to be locked behind, what type of locks that these things need to be behind on the door. Oftentimes just a simple little fucking combo lock that you put on a locker, that doesn't count. That's not something that is adequate. Sometimes you need a cipher lock. Sometimes you need multiple locks. Sometimes you need the way they're even stored need to be covered, and every single page needs to be marked a certain way. There's a lot of shit. It's a pain in the fucking ass. I had to actually deal specifically with classification, with classified materials, confidential, secret, and top secret stuff in terms of controlling it, and if we found that there was a violation, the investigation that had to be done into it. I've done this shit before. It happens all the fucking time in the government. Happens all the time because people accidentally put stuff on one thing. They stick a fucking thumb drive in something they shouldn't be sticking a thumb drive in. And then all of a sudden, you have to find out who the fuck was in this office from this hour to this hour, and you have to do it's a pain in the ass, trust me. So stuff like this happens in government for sure. But the idea that one was just the end of the world and this one they just want to brush aside, it's laughably stupid.